I am here in studio with the Rockland Fire Chief, Scott Duffey. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Christine, thanks for having me.
Oh, it's been a while. Always good to see you. And I know there's always so many good things going on in Rockland, and interesting things too, and important things. One of those important things coming up this Saturday. And this is a vote that affects your department. I want to tell your listeners, I want you to tell our listeners what it's about and why it's so important.
Yes, thank you. Very important vote this Saturday, the 13th. Polls open at 8 a.m. They close at 6 p.m. And it's a special election just for the fire department. It's to vote for a new fire ladder truck. That's question one. Question two is to vote for a new fire station, funding for a new fire station.
And the money is it a total? And if I'm wrong with these numbers, $26.1 million.
So that's for the fire station. Yeah.
Okay.
So question one is $2 million for a new ladder truck.
Okay.
And then question two is $26.1 million for the new station.
Okay, let's get the nuts and bolts out of the way first. For people that aren't quite sure about the process, as I remember, Rockland voters did already reject two funding proposals at the annual town election in April, but later approved them during May town meeting. So this is another step in the process. How does that work? That's what I think a lot of people might be confused about that.
Sure. In order to approve the funding for the debt exclusion and then the one-time capital exclusion is you need two votes. You need a ballot vote to pass, and then you need a vote at town meeting. Mm-hmm. In April, the ballot vote failed for both, unfortunately. But then at town meeting, they voted overwhelmingly to approve. So now we have a tiebreaker vote coming up on Saturday.
And is this tiebreaker vote, is this a simple majority or is it a 2/3 majority?
It's a simple majority vote on both questions.
And okay, so this comes up, and I know that just because we have covered so many fires and other incidents that the local fire departments have been involved with, I think sometimes people don't realize just how many things and kinds of incidents you folks respond to. When I started here, 100 years ago, it seemed like about 70% of the calls were fires, 30% medical. That seems to have switched. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say we're pretty close to the 80% medical and 20% non-medical. We'll even put it at that. I would say 1 to 2% are actual fires.
Okay. But the difference is, with everything, with all these trucks, all this modern equipment, you guys are really in the business of saving lives because seconds count.
Seconds do count, and we always have to be prepared. And our mission has grown. Like you said, back up until probably the mid-'70s, the fire department's job was to put fires out. And then came the emergency medical services. And on top of that, then came hazardous material incidences and then technical rescues. So our mission has grown and continues to grow today. So with that becomes more equipment to go on the trucks. When we're responding from one call to another, we need that equipment with us. That's why you see our big trucks all the time.
And I remember even years ago seeing the old fire station. That looked, to me, antiquated over 20 years ago. So it's got to be tougher now.
It's very tough right now. The station has served the town well. It was originally built in 1939 on the right-hand side, the right three bays. And, they housed vehicles that were just a little bit bigger than in today's SUV. And now our ambulances are much bigger than that. The fire trucks are much bigger than that. There was an addition put on in 1978, and unfortunately, we've just run out of room. That mission creep, our growth in what we do and the size of our vehicles and the amount of equipment and gear we need to have stored at the station to be ready, we've just outgrown the location.
Now tell me about what this would mean to the average taxpayer in the town of Rockland. If both of these items pass, the $2 million for the ladder truck and the $26.1 for the new fire station, how does that break down on what people would be paying in taxes?
Sure. We'll talk about the ladder truck first.
Okay.
So the ladder truck's $2 million overall. And then that breaks down. So it's a one-time capital expenditure exclusion. So that means for one fiscal year, if voted to approve, for one fiscal year, it goes on to the tax rolls, and then it comes right off after that fiscal year. Based upon the average single-family home, which is $517,000, it would be a tax increase, a one year, of about $300 per household.
Okay. Now, part two, the new fire station.
Correct. So the new fire station would be a capital debt exclusion. That would be paid out over 30 years. That's that 26.1 million. That averages out, for that same single family average household of 517,000. That averages about to $223 a year, or about $18 per month.
Specifically, if you don't get a new fire station, what kind of things are you dealing with? I just know from, again, a very superficial knowledge of so much stuff. You guys deal with a lot of stuff, including, with all these materials, with all these hazardous chemicals and fumes that you hear about now. Why do you need especially this new fire station?
Sure. A lot of it comes down to the health of the firefighters, and which are employees of the town. When there is a fire, or many incidents we go to, it's a toxic atmosphere. The clothing and equipment we wear protect us from that atmosphere. That clothing absorbs some of the chemicals, the dirt, the toxic environments. We bring that back to the fire station. Currently, we don't have a dedicated room to clean that. And then even though they are thoroughly cleaned afterwards, you still never get all the chemicals out. So those equipment's still off-gassing a little bit. That should be stored in a separate room with its own ventilation system, and we don't have that. Our gear is all left out. It's all along the exterior walls, all in the lockers, open to the air, open to where the firefighters are working, waiting for another run to come in, eating breakfast, eating dinner, eating lunch. They're exposed to these harmful chemicals.
And it's interesting. I remember one of the chiefs was in here years ago because we were having a debate on the air, the owner and I, about, why do they show up to these medical calls with all this equipment? And it was the back in the day, former fire chief Kevin Robinson, who said used to be call and haul. If somebody passed out or died. Now you guys come ready for everything, and as we said, seconds count. So it's just like with any job, you got to have the best tools for the job.
We do, and we've been very fortunate with federal grants, and we're able to have the best equipment. And our call volume is so high in Rockland that we're often running from one call to another and we don't have the time to go back to the station to grab a certain piece of equipment. So we try to keep what we need with us. And again, the trucks are getting bigger. We're running out of room in the station. It's kind of a snowball effect and hits every aspect of life. And
if this doesn't pass, the problem doesn't go away.
It doesn't pass, and that's been the message we've been trying to get out to the voters is, you vote no. We still have a station that's too small. We still have a station that's unhealthy for the firefighters and the people that are working there. In addition, the problem doesn't go away, and we would have to come back for another vote, and it's just going to be more expensive with inflation down the road.
Absolutely. What are three important takeaways about this issue that I think our listeners need to know?
I think the number one is the health and safety of the firefighters. These are the men and women that are coming to your house to protect you, to save your life, to bring you to the hospital. I would say that's the big one. Number two is, we need to be good custodians of the equipment that the town has purchased, that the federal government has purchased for us. We need a safer building to host that equipment in. And then third is just the profile of the employees. Back when the station was built, it was a male-dominated field. Now it's not. We're very diverse. And we need a station that grows with us and provides a little bit more privacy in bunk rooms and throughout the station.
Absolutely. And people in Rockland can come out and vote on this issue this Saturday, and it's 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And if people have any questions about that, is there a website or a Facebook page?
So on the town website, under the fire department page on the town website, there is a link for the project, and they are always more than welcome to come up and visit me at the fire station or to call me. I would love to give tours.
That's terrific. And again, that's Rockland Fire Chief Scott Duffey. We appreciate you joining us today. We're going to put this interview up online so people can listen to it. And of course, we will cover the results of that vote on Saturday. Hey, thanks so much for coming in today.
Christine, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm Christine James, 95.9.